We will call to order the regular board meeting of the Chicago Board of Election Commissioners. Good morning. My name is Marisol Hernandez. I'm the chair, and with me today is Commissioner June Brown.
Present.
We will go on to the consideration of the agenda. Any proposed changes? If not, then we will proceed with the approval of the board meeting minutes of October 14th, 2025, and October 28th, 2025. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
A second by Commissioner Hernandez. Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Hernandez votes aye. Motion passes. Next item is the Executive Director's Report. Mrs. Spera, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioner Brown. The last day for petition filing was Monday, November 3rd, and the last day to file objections was Monday, November 10th. The board's downtown office was open this past weekend, November 8th and the 9th, for public record viewing. I met with State Senator Maddie Hunter and her chief of staff, along with the Community Services Manager Audra Lewicki and Supervisor Paulina Mischliewicz on Thursday, November 6th, to discuss matters related to election judges and deputy registrar. I also met with Chicago Police Department, along with the board's general counsel, Adam Lasker, and manager of the pre-election and voting logistics, Clinton Hurd, for an introduction and to request security support during record exams, early voting sites, and the board's warehouse. They will review our request and get back to us. I also requested a follow-up meeting to discuss Election Day support at our polling places and vote centers. Staff will also be participating in monthly meetings hosted by the State Board of Elections starting this Thursday, November 13th at 10 a.m. And lastly, I will be presenting the 2026 budget for the City of Chicago, for the Chicago Board of Election Commissioners for the city's budget committee tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
And that ends our report.
Okay, great, thank you. And now we will hear from our Public Information Director, Mr. Bever.
Good morning, Commissioners. A few updates for communication. We have new materials on our website and our YouTube page, thanks to our partnership with KDX Consulting related to signature verification training for election workers. This is the first time we've had these up in a public way. I think this is a good, transparent way for people, especially as Chicago Electoral Board and records examinations move forward. We'll also have posters up on our walls downstairs that include additional information about how this process works. But all of that is available up on the website right now. We've already gotten some feedback from additional election officials, including over in DuPage County, who reached out to us. So I think many other election officials nearby and across the state will also find this information helpful. I will be attending the budget hearing with the executive director and staff tomorrow. This will be the last of our budget hearings for the year. We do have some new web pages going live on the website over the next couple of weeks. We have a new registration page today, redesigned to be a bit more helpful on mobile, as well as organize what people are looking for and which different ways to get registered. So you can take a look at that right now. We'll have the new vote by mail page going live in early December, right before applications open, as well as a new online vote by mail application and a new military overseas web page that we've worked in coordination with Peeville on. And one thing to wrap up was we already taped and released our first episode of the City That Votes TV show. So this is in our partnership with CAN TV. A big thank you to Giovanna Carrillo, who served as our first guest. We had a great conversation about election judge recruitments, both the challenges but also the successes that the Chicago Board has seen over the last few years, including good discussion on our student judge program, one of the strongest in the nation, especially when it comes to high school students. So our November episode is out. It's up on YouTube. It's up on our social media and our website. We will have 11 episodes moving forward, one for each month. I am finalizing our schedule and our topic ideas. And again, always happy to take ideas from our commissioners as well as interview you sometime in the near future. Speaking of the City of Oats, we do have a podcast episode that will be dropping by the end of this week, is a final interview with Commissioner Cressy, who had just left the board in the last couple of weeks. And looking forward to continuing that podcast as we head into very much our election season, as March 17th is not too far away now.
Okay.
And that is it for communications.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Speaking of that, and I think I just wanted to follow up now with Audra Lewicki on the, in terms of community outreach, what new projects, endeavors do we have going on that we did not have before? Good morning, Audra.
Good morning. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
What?
Can you hear me? I guess
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
New endeavors for community outreach.
Yeah. New, I know, we have a kind of a recurring list of things we do and events we go to, as part of the board. But I was wondering if there's anything additional that you've thought about for community outreach for them to do so we can get more voters.
Yeah. So a big thing that I want to do every election that is difficult is to bring on a community outreach part-time employee for the Korean and Tagalog speaking communities. And that's been really difficult for us to find.
The way the budget is going nowadays, I don't think we're going to get any new. We have to work with what we have because of the budgetary cutbacks and, yeah.
Right. Well, I don't even know that it's necessarily that. It's been difficult to find personnel
Yeah.
who are able to fulfill that role.
Yeah, but it's not gonna, that's the problem.
Yeah.
They've been cutting back on our positions, the city, so, or freezing others. So there's, it's really difficult to just get it. We're gonna have to work with what we have.
Mhm.
Yeah, but given that, working with, the people we have, we'd like to know, as I think I've mentioned before, think out of the box
Mhm.
and see what else can we do that we haven't done before
Yeah.
to get new registrations, new voters
Yeah.
to sign up.
So something that we've been doing at the events that we go to that I'm sure has always been happening, but it's happening in a more, I would say, organized and obvious way, is we collect contact information from people who are stopping by our booth. And then it's not just voters, but people who have organizations that are partnering with the organization that we're at the event for. And then we make more of an effort to connect with those people. And instead of waiting for them to come to us, we go to them and say, these are the things that we can do. We can come out, we can offer voter registration, we can offer equipment demonstrations, because voter registration isn't just because you register someone to vote, they will appear. They need to feel comfortable voting. And so it's really important for us to make sure that on top of registration, we also offer equipment demonstrations so people feel more empowered and comfortable when they do arrive either at an early voting location or on election day in a precinct. So that's something that we are doing, is reaching out to each of those community contacts that we're making at our events, as opposed to waiting for them to come to us. Every chance I get, we are offering equipment demonstrations, because I do think that that is an important piece aside from voter registration and getting people to come to the precinct.
I'd like to see an expansion of the places we go to, you know, and maybe you can get together with the people from community services and brainstorm a little bit about where else can we go, do outreach, you know, I'm, you know, interested in, you know, being able to go out more to schools and talking to seniors and getting them more involved and see if we can have them vote. Going out to more community organizations, to religious organizations, expand on what we have. And see, because I think there's a lot of people who are motivated for whatever reason to help even. And I think we need to figure out how to tap into those people at this point.
Okay.
Okay? You have any thoughts?
Yeah. There are several groups that I think you all have on a list. Are there any programs planned to like invite them in or do a voter registration at their site, or other than an event, a specific annual event, that we have ongoing trainings with them? Because I know a lot of people have been asking, interfaith, civic, other groups have been asking about training
Yeah.
for deputy registrars.
Yeah, we have at least an event a week usually, and that's the minimum. So you know, we go to high schools, we work with religious organizations, we work with Rainbow Push, we work with the League of Women Voters. We work with a variety of community groups. We will continue to do that
You've been
and
doing voter
expand.
deputy registrar training at Push?
Can you say that again?
I say you've been doing deputy registrar training at Rainbow Push?
We have one coming up this weekend, yeah.
You have a deputy registrar training set up?
Correct. Saturday at noon at their headquarters.
Good.
'Cause they're one of the groups that's been asking me, so
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Okay.
And churches as well, interfaith?
Yeah, so the churches, we've been working.
Not just churches, temples, and interfaith, all of that.
Yeah, so Giovanna works with religious organizations as well. Giovanna, who does our community outreach in the Hispanic community. As you, I'm sure, know, it's been difficult for us to, lately, given the atmosphere in Chicago, encourage voter registration events or events really of any kind in the Hispanic community. Hopefully that will change soon in time for us to really focus and get them back out doing demonstrations and voter registration.
What about the Tagalog? You mentioned them as needing a specific outreach. What's the percentage of our voters that come from that community?
I don't know the percentage of voters. I know that we have around 10 precincts that, based on Cook County ordinance, require language assistance,
We have that on
bilingual
touch
language
screen, right,
assistance.
in addition. We
It's-
have that on our touch screens in addition.
Correct. Yeah.
I can't believe you guys can't hear me. I've never had that issue.
I think this is right over
Yeah,
me.
Ever.
Yeah.
Okay. So the need for, as the chair said, with our budget issues, I'm sure that that's not going to be an issue on top of, at the top of the list right now. But for what we have now, the number of people that we're able to reach through our trainings, how many do you think we've been reaching? You said we have different trainings set up. How many are we reaching?
I don't keep a running list of how many people attend the events. I can start doing that.
Yeah, I think we should, because we
Okay.
need to know what's working and what's not, and then we can decide whether the efficiencies are there for continuing in that particular organization.
Okay, you got it.
That sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Commissioners, sorry to butt in, but something that communications and community service has been discussing too are ways to include students in another design contest way. Stickers get a little bit tricky, especially printed materials and the like. We were discussing ideas related to either maybe a children's or a coloring book. That's something that our designer could help take on. She's very busy right now, but this is a discussion that we can talk a little bit more about, but the idea being that a student would help draft the book, our designer would help design it, and this is yet another material that we could take to our events, and especially have something ready for summer of 2026 that's at tables, or for students, or driven events, or for something that's for more kid-related events too, or available for kids who are at the polls. So we're discussing with some of our partners and maybe even our friends at MICVA other ideas related to a design contest to a book rather than related to a sticker or other voting material. So we'll keep the commissioners up to date on those conversations too.
Are we doing anything on the youth, the Peters bill for youth? I know it didn't pass in the omnibus, but
No, but I imagine, that might come up in our legal update from our general counsel, but, if there's another push again in 2026, earlier the year, I'm sure that's something that the board could discuss being a proponent for in Springfield.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Oh, Mr. Bever, are you done?
I am, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And now we'll proceed to old business, infrastructure projects and changes in election administration, including electronic poll books and voting equipment. Any updates?
No updates.
No updates, thank you. Legislation, Mr. Lasker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. There was an omnibus bill that was introduced in the veto session, but it again did not get a vote. So most things related to the election code have remained unchanged.
Okay.
I did want to let you know, though, and we'll be following up on this with staff. We've discussed it briefly, but we'll get down to implementation. That they did pass House Bill 576, which creates the Public Official Safety and Privacy
yes.
Act. And so it applies to a specific list of public officials, including members of the General Assembly, constitutional officers, state's attorneys, public defenders, county clerks, and election commissioners expressly included. It's a privacy act that will have us redact, and other government agencies will redact personal information for those elected officers from our public records, from our publicly facing records. It's very similar to what we already have with the Judicial Privacy Act, so we just need to expand the policies, the functioning for that in our system.
Does the official have to request, because otherwise it stays public?
That is correct. The official has to submit a written request.
To each agency?
Yes. Yep. So for you, you'll have that opportunity. Obviously, once the bill goes into law, you'll have to send us a written request to each agency you would want to have keep things confidential. We will be receiving those from these various elected officials, and that will be applied to, public-facing voter registration records, lists of vote-by-mail voters. It applies to the public official and his or her immediate family, as it's defined in the statute.
Okay.
you know I'll renew my request from 2021, right?
Sounds good. So, but as far as legislation goes, that's the only action to mention today.
Okay, thank you. We will now proceed with new business. We have on the agenda an expenditure to Valenti Builders for electrical supply installations and related work at the board's early voting super site at 137 South State Street. Good morning,
Good
Carolina.
morning. The procurement office is requesting your consideration and approval to engage the services of Valenti Builders, Inc. to furnish and install additional power requirements needed at the board's super site located at 137 South State Street. The board recently entered into a 5-year lease agreement with Centrio and Envergy Chicago LLC for a commercial space located at 137 South State Street to service as our early voting super site and other uses. The space will be utilized through the 2030 primary election and potentially the 2030 November general election. In an effort to continue improvements and modifications to the property pursuant to design plans made by board staff, we are looking to acquire the services of Valenti Builders, Inc. They will be responsible for providing and installing the additional electrical capacity needed to comply with voting booth power specifications. A letter of intent was issued to Valenti Builders, Inc. with the understanding that the board approval was still required for this expenditure. The procurement office is requesting approval to enter into an agreement with Valenti Builders, Inc. to perform additional power requirement installation at the board super site in the dollar amount not to exceed $70,190.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
So this wasn't included in the original contract?
Correct.
Is why?
The landlord work included installation of electrical lighting and in-the-wall electrical outlets as required by code, but the additional electrical needs was expressly excluded from that agreement.
Again, why? If we knew we were going to need updates, why would we do sign an incomplete contract?
I don't call it an incomplete contract. Through the negotiation process, the landlord just did not agree to include that additional electrical work in the cost of the rent that they're charging.
So are we paying rent now without the electricity that we're asking for now?
We are not paying rent until we move in.
No payments at all? Okay. good.
There was, I think, there was a down payment, a
payment.
deposit made, but no rent payments until we move in and the work is complete.
Well, the deposit is money if we don't pay the rent, right? Isn't that
There's
what
an
happens?
initial request for a deposit.
So we've agreed to this without the completion. We don't have a complete contract. What if they come back next month and there are additional work to be done? How do we know this is the full true cost?
Well, the quote that they provided was detailed, and Mr. Hurd has met directly with them to discuss each individual needs. We've got a very specified drawings that have been approved.
So you want to fill us in, Mr. Hurd?
So, good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Once it was determined that we had the contract and that the builder was just putting in everything up to code, we went back to look at what we needed. We provided them with diagrams, everything sufficient to use the place as the location as a early voting site, as well as multiple other functions.
Post canvassing, I remember that from
Whatever
August.
outreach program, whatever we needed, whatever we'd like to use it for. After that, we sat down, went back and forth with a couple of diagrams, and requested a quote on the power specifically to the specs of the equipment, placement of outlets, and locations around the site, as well as power coming from the ceiling that would not interfere with other functions. Once we gave them that, we also went out to get another quote, which this quote came in under that quote. At that point, we decided to go with Valenti.
Okay, and so this is the complete picture of what we're spending for this location?
I don't know. I mean, there may be additional expenses for things that the board needs to do there.
Well, don't we need a full, complete picture before we agree
Well,
to
but
a
the
contract?
landlord's just not responsible for every cost that the board needs to invest at the site.
Fully
This is-
understood.
Yeah, and this is the same
But
way.
I'm saying for us to sign the contract, given this budget environment, shouldn't we have a fulsome picture of everything and some anticipations before we sign additional? And are we gonna get 70 grand every other month? That's
Well-
all I'm asking, I just wanna know.
At this point, Commissioner, it includes everything that we've requested. Anything unforeseen,
I can go with the
well-
unforeseen, but not for electricity needs. I would think before we were given a contract, we would have had this need taken care of, asked to sign on a full contract.
This is the way, so no prior Supersite landlord has paid for the installation of the board's additional electricity requirements. And Mr. Hurd, there might be, I mean, I'm just shooting from the top of my head, but
I don't
we're
want you to
getting
shoot from the
curtains.
top of your head. I want
No,
some
but I mean,
certainty.
I'm just saying there may be additional expenses like curtains. The landlord isn't, we're gonna be putting in,
I understand that. That comes in under auxiliary and other issues that you can anticipate. So you know that there'll be other needs. I'm saying this is a major expenditure. It could have been 100,000 versus 70,000. And so how do we know that this is the full picture of what we're looking at? And in contracts, I'm looking to you. Thank you for the explanation, but I'm looking to see, is this the fulsome of everything we'll be responsible for based on our reputational risk and liabilities? that
so,
may go
Mr.
forward?
Hurd, based on the list of the landlord's work and now this electrical, are there any other major expenditures that you can foresee that haven't been addressed in either of those?
As far as electricity, I believe data and electricity were included. As far as the conduits,
Right.
construction was included on that. So as far as we're concerned, at this point, as I'm concerned at this point, is that everything we requested, which I went back and had a conversation with Valente, went back with my team and discussed everything that we need as far as we know at this point was included in that contract. I went back after they gave us the submittal and went back to them and when they requested the permit and asked, is this the full coverage that we're looking for? So unless something unforeseen,
I can
comes
go
up.
with the unforeseen, but when I get an original contract that tells me this is the complete contract, that's my concern.
But the original contract expressly said in it that this additional electrical work was not included. So we did know at that time that this expense was, that the additional work was needed. They just didn't have a quote yet on the work, or they didn't have both quotes.
So before you handed it to us, wouldn't you have gotten at least a quote?
Well, we didn't. They didn't have a quote on the electrical
Absolutely.
work until now.
Okay.
Okay, any question further?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I will move to authorize the expenditure of $70,190 to Valenti Builders, Inc. for the installation of electrical distribution lines and receptacles as specified by the board staff at the board's new early voting super site. Is there a second?
Based on Mr. Hurd's explanation of the need and my somewhat comfort with the idea that there won't be additional surprise expenditures, I will second it with
Okay.
that commentary.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye. Commissioner Hernandez votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Motion passes. The next item is a short-term property use agreement with 108 North State Street for election judge training rooms and other uses at Block 37. And here we have Audra. Hi, Audra.
Hello.
Hello.
This is the space that we request a short-term lease for every election. It's new rooms this time. It'll be for election judge training. We then dispatch backup poll workers from there, standby judges, and sometimes we also do the canvas there.
Okay.
It's totals $161,000, including a refundable $1,000 security deposit.
Refundable 1,000?
Excuse me? I'm so sorry.
The refundable 1,000.
Refundable, yes.
Okay. And is this basically the same agreement we've had with Block 37? The
Yes.
same number of rooms and?
Same number of rooms. The rooms themselves are different. And the way they define the rooms a little bit differently than we do. So I think in the last election, they considered it one room and we called it two because it was so large. So it might, it fits our needs.
But it's basically the same as before, and you're
Correct.
familiar with it, and it
Correct.
works?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Of course I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's the same space. Well, why the 13% increase then? From September 2023?
Most likely an increase in cost of labor. They have to install air conditioners in there for us. They need to install some drywall.
Wouldn't you
And-
have had to do that before?
Not necessarily. The rooms that we used for November were the same rooms that we used for March, if I'm not mistaken. So there really didn't need to be much change other than reinstalling the air conditioners.
And it says December 29th as through the end of March as the start date.
Yes.
Why are we going December 29th? When we probably won't need anything before January.
Correct. I wanted to make it right before January so that we can move in January the first week.
When we move in January the first week, we'll be paying. So is this on the city budget or the county? This December, we're signing for a city budget or the county?
I think this falls under the city's responsibility for renting space.
Okay, did we? Okay. So wouldn't that kind of put us in, because it says in the contract, rent due and payable no later than 30 days prior to set up, so we'll be in the city contract for this? So we're trying to cut budget?
The city does cover our building.
And so, but for this year? It'll be in
It would
this year's,
come out from
it's in this year's budget already?
Yes.
So, did we look at other places?
No, Block 37 has been the most reliable, least expensive.
It's the least expensive?
Well, it has been. I haven't looked again for this election. So when we would use Harold Washington for training, that one room alone was $100,000 for 6 weeks. We get 4 rooms.
But with the glut of space still in the loop now, wouldn't we have probably had some other options that were more cost affordable for?
It's very possible, but I have a good working relationship with them. I know what to expect. The location is extremely convenient for the judges and for our office. And we really like working there.
I understand life, but with our budget issues, I'm concerned.
Okay.
Also, if I'm looking back to an August presentation about 137, weren't they gonna be used for post canvas and those kinds of things too? So the space, we couldn't use this space for this?
That was the original plan. However, with the moving of the 28 days of the filing period, now we're looking for additional space. So to answer kind of your question, Commissioner Brown, I did ask Dean Fatikas
Mm-hmm.
to tour me with other downtown locations
Mm-hmm.
for additional space. So I did come across some rooms. They were not big enough. However, we did find one across the street from 137. But that is a possible location, but not for this project.
Okay.
But we did tour other locations. I did ask staff, do you want to come? Does anybody want to tour? Additional room, I believe I confirmed with Audra, do you need additional space? You said no. So I did have a tour with registration department. Who else was there? People, if I'm not mistaken. We did tour across the street right here, across the street from City Hall, down on State Street next to the Express shop. Now it's a Gap, I believe.
Okay.
There's a building there. And they were all student, college locations.
Right.
And then we did the tour the last one was at 137, that was across the street. And that one was actually a very nice space.
Okay. so-
Big enough for this project? I don't think so.
Okay. so-
Definitely for petition filing, record review. I believe we have an option if the city cannot provide us one.
Okay, so now, with this one, does this cover the judge's confirmation that's coming up too? This lease that you've asked, because that's a full training, isn't it?
I don't understand your question. We don't use space for judges' confirmation.
When we're doing the trainings or anything like that, we won't need Block 37 after, what did you say, March?
Oh, are you referring to the November training
yeah.
cycle? So they will not sign a lease for us for an entire year, just given the nature of their business. They will only do it one election cycle at a time. I think they
Block
might.
37 won't do that?
Correct. I think they might be willing to do it when we have the November training cycle plus the February training cycle. But to have them do it for, December through for an entire year, they're not willing to do that.
Well, let me point out, they would probably be willing. We would just have to pay substantially for the additional time, and we wouldn't be using the site in between cycles.
Well, and they would probably put us in a commercial category in terms of cost.
Yeah.
So this will probably be the last time we need this because we're moving into 137, so.
Next year. After next year, no, we still need additional space. No, we still need judges training.
For the 137, we'll need additional space?
We,
Yeah, 137 is a nice area, but
Mhm.
not for training. It'll,
We'll
Yeah.
talk about it later. I'm
Okay.
getting into the weeds.
there are other locations though, however, downtown, we just have to reach out and get more tours.
All right, we'll go into it in a minute. All right, thank you.
Okay. If there are no further questions, is there a motion to approve a short-term property use agreement with 108 North State Street, owner LLC for several retail suites in the Block 37 building with a total rent fee of $160,000 plus a $1,000 refundable security deposit and with an occupancy term of December 29th, 2025 through and including March 27, 2026.
So moved, Commissioner Brown.
Second by Commissioner Hernandez. Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Hernandez votes aye. Motion passes. Now we go to our legal report. Mr. Lasker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are keeping our eyes on some federal litigation still, particularly League of Women Voters and other organizations versus Donald Trump, which is a challenge to the Arizona voting law that allows for that state to count their vote-by-mail ballots after Election Day, just like we have here in Illinois, ballots that are postmarked or deposited on or before Election Day but not received until afterwards. The Supreme Court has taken the case. That's going to be heard along with the current pending Illinois challenge, which is a very similar case, but the Illinois issue is more focused on who has standing to bring the challenge. The Arizona case is more directed at the merits of the question, can election authorities count vote-by-mail ballots after Election Day, even though they were mailed on or before Election Day? Also, the Federal District Court in New York has issued a permanent injunction against President Trump's executive order that would require proof of citizenship for voter registrations under the federal forms. So that's obviously something that would greatly affect our registration system. It would require bifurcated, basically a bifurcated registration system. So for now, at least that law has been, that executive order, which is not a law, has been enjoined. Then, starting next week, Wednesday, the 19th, we'll begin our electoral board hearings. And we had 23 objection cases transferred to us from the State Board of Elections, which is a remarkably low number.
It is.
The State Board itself has 77 cases, they've told us, that they'll be handling, which for them is a remarkably high number.
Oh.
So it just goes to show how the objections, you just can't really ever know what to expect.
Right.
We've got lower than usual, they've got higher than usual, but maybe we'll, maybe our electoral board will actually get to enjoy Thanksgiving and Christmas this year.
Yeah.
So that's my report for today.
Okay, thank you. We have no financial report. Do we have any requests for public comment? No, none. Okay. And is there a need for executive session today?
No, thank you, Madam Chair.
No. Okay. So if that's the case, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Hernandez votes aye. We're adjourned. Thank you.